Okay, in this session we are going to make some changes to a new client event here. What we're going to do is take a look at this Kaizen event. Clients asked us to make a number of changes to the landing page as well as add a image to the layout and stuff. So let's first go here and click on the View Edit. And let's first bring up the actual registration page. I'm going to open this up in a new tab. You can see that it's opened in this tab here. And they've asked us a couple things. What they'd like is a image up to the upper right hand side of things here, and they've asked if so we can tighten up the spacing here. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get the registration form up as high as we can. They've also asked us to remove the speaker information section, and we've removed the actual speakers, but what we're going to also do is remove this word here, speakers, which is actually part of the actual registration page template. So let's go ahead and first remove that. I click back here on the registration or back into the event itself, and I'm going to scroll down and you can see the actual registration form here. This is something the EMS engineer would do. You would ask an EMS engineer to make a change to the registration page, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to the instruction area of the registration and open up the editor, and what you can see is we have basically the speaker information here, and they don't want any of that. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and highlight that and delete it, and that would be the change to that. So I'm going to actually do an update and close, and then update the registration form. And then if I click back here to look at the registration form and just refresh this page, you can see that the speaker information is now gone. So now let's go back and add an image. So I'm going to go back to the EMS. First thing I must do is actually add the image to the EMS so that we can add it to the page. So I go to Tools, Images, New, and I'm going to browse for the source of my image, and that's been saved on my hard drive here. So let's go down here and find the Kaizen directory, and there's my image. One thing you want to make sure is that your image is already size appropriate here. So I've already checked this one is actually an 82 by 123, which is a reasonable size to fit on the page. If it's not the right size, then it should be resized before it's uploaded, and you would contact your EMS engineer to help you with that. In this case it is sized right, so I'm going to load that up, and we need to add a name for it, so we'll just call it Forensics, and I'm going to make it public so other people in the Kaizen account can use it. I'm going to mark it complete since we're not doing any modifications to it, and I'm going to go ahead and click Add Image. And now it's added it to my system here. You can see the forensics image, and if I click on that, it'll show me the image and what it looks like and say, okay, that's the one I'm looking for. So now I'm going to click Home, and we're going to go back to this event that we want to add the image to. And what we're going to add it to is this area right here. Well, all of this text is actually part of the event description. So if I go to the event description tab and I look down here, I see the event description area, and I am going to just click on the editor, and you can see what I want is basically to add the image here. Well, the way you add an image in the HTML editor in order to make everything fit and flow correctly is what you want to actually do is add a table element and then add the image to that table element. So I just moved the text down a couple of lines, then I'm going to click on Insert a New Table. It's going to ask me how many columns and rows do I want, and actually I'm going to do this with 2 columns, and I'm going to do it with 2 rows and see how that goes. We'll give the information actually a little bit of padding. Actually, let's go ahead and do this. Let's make it 2 columns and 3 rows, and I'll show you how I use that 3rd row to create a little bit of space between the text and the image. So I'm going to do that and go ahead and insert table. So it's added my 2 rows or my 2 columns and my 3 rows. Actually, I wanted 3 columns and 2 rows, but that's okay because I can go back and fix it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this text, and I'm just going to drag it and drop it up here in that first table column. Now I'm going to put my cursor in this next column, and I'm going to click on this Insert EMS Image, and I'm going to find my forensics image. Here it is. And what I want to do is come over here and click on the plus sign for the forensics image, and that sticks in my image. And then let's see, this information here should probably go up in this area, so I'm going to add that back in, put a little space between it. Then we're going to move our agenda up here, and just tighten that up to the top a little bit more, and get rid of any other extra spacing I had down here. So that doesn't look too bad, but they're also asking if we can tighten some of this up. So what you can do is you can try a couple different techniques to tighten this up. One is we might want to turn this into a list, a bulleted list, and see how that tightens things up and makes it a little bit more readable. And we'll go ahead and leave it like that and see if that makes the client happy. I've got an extra row down here that I actually don't need, so I'm simply going to go up and use my table tools, and I'm going to go to the one here that says delete row. And as I said, just so this stuff doesn't get too butted up against each other, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to add my cursor over here, and now I'm going to add a column right there. So what that does is it actually adds a blank column in between the two, and then when we format it, you'll notice that the things don't run together quite as much. I would actually want this text to come up to the top of the page, and it looks like it's already at the top. So what I need to do is actually look at the properties of this table cell. So I've got my cursor in the table cell. I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to go down to table cell properties. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the alignment. So what I really want is I want this left aligned, and then I want it aligned to the top. So that'll take care of that and do an update. While I'm at it, I'm actually going to go over here and click in my table cell for my image and just make sure that that also is left aligned to the top. And this looks like it's fine, so I'm going to do an update and close. And we're going to do a save and continue. We're going to come back over here and refresh this page and see how things look. Doesn't look too bad. Trying to see if there's anything else that we want to do with the formatting there. We may send this back to the client as it is and see if this makes them happy with the way that they wanted things formatted. You'll notice one of the key things was they want to be able to see that this was a registration form. So now by squishing everything up, that you can actually see that this is a registration form that you need to fill out at the bottom here. So with that, I'm going to end this recording session.